You're sitting there, staring at your phone, trying to work out what went wrong. It's been a couple of days since she replied. You go back over your last messages, the last time you saw her, every small detail. You remember how she looked at you, how close she stood, the way it felt like she actually cared. And now it's just silence, and you're just thinking, she's done. She's over it. But the real mistake isn't her silence. It's what you're doing with it. Right now, you're trying to solve this by thinking harder, by checking your phone more, by looking for little signs. You're trying to chase certainty, and that's the habit that keeps killing attraction for you. The way you react to silence is what turns interest into distance. So from now on, use this simple line in your head. I rise, not chase. When you feel the urge to beg for attention, you go up, not forward. You work on yourself, not on her. This is for you if you've ever asked yourself, why is she ignoring me if she said she cared? You're going to understand why women pull back even when they like you, and what you have to change about yourself so you stop collapsing every time it happens. Not to play games, but to become a man who can stay calm, attractive, and stable under pressure. Let's break it down. First, you need to understand this. She still feels you even when she's quiet. You think silence means nothing is happening. You think because there are no texts, there's no connection. But while you're overthinking every word you sent, she's paying attention to something else completely. She's paying attention to your energy and your behavior. She notices when your messages suddenly get longer and more emotional. She notices when you start replying instantly every single time. She notices when you start trying to fix her distance instead of living your life. She doesn't just randomly disconnect. Most of the time there was a shift. Maybe you started needing her replies to feel okay. Maybe you stopped leading and started waiting on her every reaction. Maybe you made her attention the center of your day. And when that happens, a lot of women step back a little. Not always to hurt you, not always because they're done, but to see what you do when they aren't feeding your ego. They want to see if you stay sane without constant reassurance, or if you fall apart the moment they stop giving you what you want. Most guys fail this part. They panic. They start double texting. They check her socials every hour. They post stories hoping she'll see them. They ask if she's mad. They apologize for things that don't even exist. They send long paragraphs explaining their feelings to a girl who hasn't even replied okay. Every time you do that, you don't look more caring. You look unstable and dependent. You show her that the strengths she thought she saw in you was only there when she was giving you attention. The man who passes this stage does something very different. He doesn't ignore her on purpose, and he doesn't become cold. He just doesn't change his whole life because she took longer to respond. He stays on his routine. He goes to the gym. He focuses on his goals. He sees his friends. He keeps his messages short, clear, and relaxed. She can feel when you're steady and when you're desperate. So when she pulls back, your first move is not, how do I get her attention again? Your first move is, how do I stabilize myself? You stop staring at your phone. You put structure back into your day. You give yourself tasks and finish them. You create momentum in your own life. That change in you is what speaks to her the most, not some perfect text. Second, you need to be stable, not reactive. While she's a bit distant, she's not just judging your words. She's watching how easily your mood changes based on her actions. If one cold reply can ruin your whole day, she feels that. If one delayed text turns you into a wild mix of jokes, explanations, and random messages, she feels that too. If she gives a short answer, and you respond with 10 lines trying to keep the conversation alive, you show her your center is weak. If she asks for space, and you instantly fight it or argue, you show her you are driven by fear. If she cancels once and you start begging to reschedule, you show her you value her more than you value your own standards. She's not doing this so she can destroy you. She's trying to see what kind of man you are under pressure. She wants to know if you are able to stay calm when things aren't ideal. She wants to see if you can keep your frame when her emotions change. Being stable doesn't mean you feel nothing. It just means your behavior is not controlled by her ups and downs. You can feel bothered, but you don't start acting like a different person. You don't send emotional essays. You don't throw little online tantrums. You don't try to buy her attention back with constant checking in. Stability looks like this. You reply, but you don't chase. You're available sometimes, but not all the time. You keep your plans. You don't drop everything the second she messages. When she asks for time, you say, okay, and you mean it. Not as a tactic, but because you actually have a life to return to. You don't fight the space. You use it. If you want her to see you as someone she can relax around, you have to show that you can function without her constant approval. A guy who needs someone to babysit his emotions is not attractive. A guy who can feel hurt and still stay grounded and respectful. So next time you feel yourself getting worked up because she's distant, do this. Pause before replying. Read your message and cut out anything that sounds needy or dramatic. Keep it simple. Then put your phone away and go do something that actually improves your life. It sounds small, but over time this is what separates you from every other guy who panics and overreacts. Third, her emotional ups and downs need your calm, not your panic. There will be days where she's sweet and engaged, and days where she's cold, distant, or short. You're not going to stop that by explaining, arguing, or convincing. That's just part of dealing with a real person with real feelings. Your job is not to become a second problem, a weak reaction, looks like this. She has a bad day, and you take it personally. She's less responsive, and you explode or sulk. She's upset, and you try to shut her down because you feel uncomfortable. When you do this, she doesn't just think he's sensitive. She starts to feel like you can't handle real life with her. She loses trust in your emotional strength. She might even start holding back how she really feels because she doesn't want to set you off. A stronger reaction looks like this. You listen more than you talk. You don't instantly try to fix every feeling she has. You pay attention, you stay calm, and you don't make it about your ego. That doesn't mean you accept disrespect. It means you know the difference between someone having a hard moment and someone treating you badly. If she's just emotional, you stay steady. If she crosses your clear boundaries, you calmly call it out or step back. Calm is a skill. You train it by waiting a few minutes before you answer when you're emotional, going for a walk or doing a workout before you reply to a stressful message, practicing short, clear answers instead of huge emotional paragraphs, letting her have her feelings without you trying to control them. The more you do this, the more she feels like she can actually be herself around you without everything turning into a dramatic scene. That's what makes a woman relax into you. Not speeches, not big gestures, just consistent, calm behavior. Fourth, you have to let her walk, but keep the door open. There will be times when she pulls away hard. She talks less. She takes longer to reply. She says she's unsure, confused, or needs distance. Everything in you will want to pull her back. You'll want to send long messages explaining yourself. You'll want to ask for one more chance. You'll want to remind her of every good moment you had. But here's the hard truth. The more you chase someone who is walking away, the smaller you look in their eyes. You are supposed to be the kind of man who can let someone go without losing himself. That is what creates respect. Letting her walk means you don't argue with her decision to step back. You don't insult her or guilt trip her. You don't beg for attention or send just checking in messages every day. You say your piece once if you need to. After that, you focus on yourself. Your life does not pause because she is unsure. Your gym sessions continue. Your work continues. Your projects continue. Your friendships continue. You improve your style, your health, your income, your skills. And you leave the door open by not burning everything down. No angry posts, no random blocking and unblocking, no petty reactions, just quiet distance and self-respect. In that space, her mind has room to think. She will remember not only how you treated her when things were good, but also how you handled it when things were hard. If you didn't panic, if you didn't break down, if you kept your word and your standards, that sticks. If what you had was real, she will feel it even while she's away. She might not come back, and that's fine, because the point isn't to force a return. The point is to protect your self-respect and keep building a life that you are proud of, with or without her. Ask yourself honestly, are you acting in a way she would respect if she looked back at this period later? Or are you acting like someone who lost control the moment she stepped away? You become unforgettable by how you behave when someone walks, not when everything is easy. Fifth, when she runs, you stand still. When she starts to drift, most guys think, I need to do more. More texts, more calls, more effort, more proof. They treat distance like a command to perform. But when you do that, you're not leading. You're following her emotional swings. You're proving to her that your peace only exists when she's close. Standing still doesn't mean you ignore her or pretend you don't care. It means you don't change your whole identity because she's acting uncertain. You don't start chasing. You don't start reacting to every small shift in her mood. You keep moving forward on your path at the same pace you were moving before. This is where discipline matters. You need a daily structure that doesn't depend on her. Wake up time, training time, study time, work time, downtime, progress you can measure. When she pulls away and you feel that tense energy in your chest, you put that energy into something productive. You hit a harder workout. You read and learn something useful. You push your career or business a bit further. You fix your room, your style, your environment. You teach your brain that your first reaction to emotional stress is self-improvement, not chasing someone. Over time, this becomes automatic. Silence becomes a signal to grow, not to collapse. And from her side, she feels something very rare. A man who didn't chase, didn't beg, and didn't turn cold and bitter either. You simply stayed consistent. You stayed respectful. You stayed focused. That stillness is powerful. It tells her that your confidence is not built on her attention. It is built on your own standards and actions. Sixth, your goal is to become a man she can't shake, not because she is obsessed, but because your presence is that solid. Most guys try to negotiate attraction. They explain how loyal they are. They say they would never hurt her. They repeat their value through words. Then, when she pulls back, they panic and their actions completely contradict everything they claim to be. She doesn't stay because of how nice your promises sound. She stays because your behavior stays strong when things get uncomfortable. If you want to be the man she keeps thinking about, stop trying to control how she sees you. Start raising your own standards for yourself. That means you don't try to win her back by throwing away your dignity. You don't allow disrespect or unstable behavior just because you're scared to lose her. You don't lower your standards for yourself just to keep someone around. Every time she withdraws and you chase, you teach her that your value depends on her reaction. Every time she withdraws and you keep improving your life, you teach her that your value is there with or without her. A man she can shake is someone who falls apart when she stops giving attention. A man she can't shake is someone who becomes even more focused when emotions get messy. How do you build that version of yourself? You work on your body. Train regularly. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just be consistent. Eat in a way that makes you feel clear and energized, not lazy and dull. Sleep enough to actually function. You work on your mind. Read things that make you smarter about money, people, and life. Cut down on endless scrolling and useless content. Write down your goals so you can see them clearly. You work on your money and direction. Think about where you want to be in 3 to 5 years. Start building skills that actually pay you. Stop wasting all your free time on distractions. You work on your circle. Move closer to people who also want to grow. Figure out which friendships only pull you down. Protect your time from people who always bring drama. Do this long enough, and something changes. You stop needing constant female attention to feel valuable. You start to like who you are when you're alone. You become harder to pull off your path. Then, when a girl pulls away, it doesn't break you. It just gives you more empty space in your schedule to invest into yourself. She will feel that. She might check if you've posted. She might wonder why you didn't chase. She might think you don't care, and then start to realize you just care about yourself enough not to fall apart. You go from one more guy in her inbox to the guy who stayed calm when every other man would have lost control. Now you need to understand something important. She can ignore you and still care a lot. Sometimes distance is not about another guy. Sometimes it's not about losing interest. Sometimes it's about her checking if the connection is safe for her long term. She wants to know, if she stops giving you constant reassurance, do you fall apart? If she stops putting in as much effort, do you chase like a teenager who can't handle rejection? If she pulls back a little, do you stay stable or do you become someone else? If you fail this, she doesn't even need a big conversation. She already got the answer by watching your behavior. You showed her that her attention was the only thing holding your confidence together. If you pass it, she feels something different. She feels like you are not just strong on good days. You are strong when things are confusing too. Think about it like this. If you had a daughter, would you want her with a guy who needs her to constantly comfort him, just so he can function? Or would you want her with someone who cares deeply, but is still okay if she has a bad day? Women look for that same security for themselves. They want a man who can handle their feelings without collapsing under them. So yes, sometimes her silence is a test, not a childish game. A test of your emotional strength, your self-respect, and your ability to lead yourself. If you chase, beg, or break, you fail it. If you stay calm, respectful, and focused, you pass. So here's what you actually do from now on when she pulls away. You stop using your phone as a way to fix your anxiety. You keep your replies simple, clear, and calm. You stop double texting when she's not answering. You don't write speeches trying to convince her of your worth. You focus on your habits. You train your body. You focus on your work or studies. You clean up your environment. You eat and sleep better. You stay polite and kind, but you don't chase. If she reaches out, you respond like a normal person, not like someone who's been starving for her attention. You don't punish her for pulling back, but you also don't reward distance with extra effort. You repeat to yourself in the silence, I rise, not chase. I build myself in the silence, not as some dramatic speech, just as a reminder of the new rule. When people pull back, you level up. When your emotions scream at you to react, you slow down. When you feel like begging, you improve instead. At the end of the day, you can't control whether she comes back, replies, or chooses you, but you can completely control who you become in this process. And if you actually live this way, you win both ways. If she returns, she comes back to a stronger, calmer, more focused man. If she doesn't, you are still that stronger, calmer, more focused man for the next girl who actually matches your growth. Either way, the silence didn't break you. You used it.